Emily thought she wouldn't last a week with the richest and rudest woman in town. Everyone before her had quit. But one day, she did something no one expected, and it changed everything. The simple woman couldn't last long with a rude millionaire woman. Until she did this asterisk asterisk. Emily had always lived a quiet, modest life in a small town, working at the local bakery and greeting every customer with warmth. When she was offered a temporary job as a personal assistant to Veronica Hale, a wealthy businesswoman known for her sharp tongue and colder-than-ice demeanor, she thought it would be a good opportunity. On her first day, Emily walked into the grand marble-floored mansion, feeling both awed and intimidated. Veronica barely looked at her and only said, "You're late," even though Emily had arrived 10 minutes early. The air felt heavy, like stepping into a storm. Every task Emily attempted was criticized. Too slow, too messy, too ordinary. She told herself she could handle it. But in her heart, she wondered how long she could survive this atmosphere. From morning until night, Veronica barked orders as if Emily were a robot. "Faster. No, not that way. Do it again," were constant refrains. Emily began to dread the sound of her employer's heels clicking on the marble floor. Her days turned into a cycle of silent endurance, trying not to upset the woman who seemed impossible to please. Veronica's other assistants had quit within days or weeks, leaving Emily wondering if she'd be the next to go. At night, Emily lay in bed exhausted, her mind replaying the day's sharp words. She considered leaving more than once, but knew she needed the income to support her mother's medical bills. That sense of duty was the only thing keeping her from walking away. One rainy afternoon, Veronica sent Emily to prepare tea, but criticized the temperature, the sugar amount, and even the placement of the cup. Emily bit her tongue, hiding her frustration. Later that day, Veronica asked for a detailed schedule to be typed out in perfect alignment and style. Emily worked for hours, only to be told, "It's amateur work." It was as if nothing Emily did would ever be right. Her hands shook as she cleaned the kitchen, wondering if tomorrow would be her last day. A part of her whispered that perhaps she was not cut out for this job. But another part refused to give Veronica the satisfaction of seeing her quit so soon. The turning point came unexpectedly one evening when Emily heard raised voices from the living room. Veronica was on the phone, her tone unusually shaky. "I don't care what it costs. Just get in the best doctor," she said before hanging up abruptly. For the first time, Emily saw something in Veronica's eyes other than coldness. She saw fear. Emily didn't ask questions, but quietly brought Veronica a glass of water. "It's my father," Veronica said softly, almost to herself. "He's very ill." It was a crack in the armor Emily had never seen before. She realized there might be more to this rude millionaire than her harsh exterior suggested. The next morning, instead of waiting for orders, Emily took the initiative to prepare Veronica's schedule so that she could have time to visit her father. She organized the house, managed calls, and even found a specialist doctor's contact through a friend. Veronica noticed, but said nothing. Over the next few days, Emily's approach shifted. She stopped seeing Veronica as just a boss to endure and began treating her like a human being in pain. She listened when Veronica spoke, even when the words were curt. She stayed late without complaint. Her quiet compassion began to soften the atmosphere in the mansion. One afternoon, as Emily was arranging fresh flowers in the study, Veronica suddenly asked, "Why haven't you left yet? Everyone else does." Emily paused, then smiled gently. "Because I think you need someone who won't," she replied. Veronica didn't answer immediately, but Emily saw her eyes flicker with something like surprise. For a woman used to people leaving at the first sign of difficulty, Emily's loyalty was disarming. That evening, Veronica actually said thank you when Emily brought her tea, a first in weeks. As days passed, Veronica began to open up about her stressful business empire, the betrayal she'd faced, and the loneliness of living in a world where everyone wanted something from her. Emily didn't judge or interrupt. She simply listened. Slowly, Veronica's sharp tone dulled, replaced by occasional moments of warmth. When Emily made a small mistake, instead of snapping, Veronica calmly explained how to correct it. The mansion began to feel less like a cold castle and more like a place where understanding was possible. The real breakthrough happened when Emily accompanied Veronica to the hospital to visit her father. Veronica introduced her not as my assistant, but as my friend. Emily was taken aback, but smiled warmly. She helped Veronica navigate the hospital paperwork, brought snacks for her during long waits, and stayed by her side. Seeing Emily's kindness firsthand, even the hospital staff commented on how rare it was for someone in Veronica's position to have such a genuine friend. Weeks turned into months, and Emily not only kept her job, but became indispensable to Veronica. The once rude millionaire began to greet her with a smile each morning. She trusted Emily with confidential business matters and even invited her to small family gatherings. Emily's patience and compassion had transformed a hostile working relationship into something meaningful. She realized that the rude exterior had been a shield Veronica used to protect herself from disappointment. In the end, Emily understood that what had made her last longer than anyone else wasn't skill or experience. It was heart. By refusing to respond to rudeness with anger, and by seeing the human beneath the wealth and arrogance, she had turned an impossible job into a lasting bond. One evening, as they shared tea together in the garden, Veronica said quietly, "I don't say this often, but I'm glad you stayed." Emily smiled, knowing that behind those words was the greatest compliment she could have received. And in that moment, the simple woman and the millionaire woman were not boss and assistant. They were friends.